जयधारी माँ। हर जीवन अनेक प्रकार के रंगों से भरा हुआ है। बातचीत वही रंग बांटेगी आप सबके साथ। हम सब एक हैं, बस सोच अलग अलग है। बटोर लीजिए उन रंगों को, जो भी आप चाहें इस बातचीत से, और ढाल लीजिए अपनी सोच में। यही मकसद है इस बातचीत का। आइए मिलते हैं अपने प्यारे से मेहमान से। अतिथि देवो भव। जयधारी माँ, हरे कृष्णा। हमारी ऑडियंस का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। नववर्ष आ रहा है, आप सबको नववर्ष की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं एडवांस में। बहुत प्यारा साल जाए आप सबका। When I was collecting my thoughts for today, मन में एक विचार आ रहा था। When we go work out or we exercise or we look for a form of fitness, why are we not doing it because we love our body instead of we dislike something about it or we are not comfortable about something? Why aren't we doing it because we value our body? The same way with life. Why aren't we living mindfully? Because we value our life. We value the gift of human birth. It's the highest gift, the human birth. हम आज स्वामी जी से, गुरु जी से जानेंगे various aspects about the human birth. पर पहले हम एक वीडियो देखते हैं जी। जी, प्रणाम, प्रणाम। Hare Krishna, Jai
Namaste,
Radha,
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Radha, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you for your precious time. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It's a great pleasure, privilege being here on Baatcheet, which we began yesterday evening. And then
Yes,
our backstage,
it
and
all,
now we continue our Baatcheet. But what a pleasure being with Honorable Kiran Bedi ji and with Sena ji. And it's an absolute pleasure and honor to join both of you in this conversation. Very, very grateful. Thank you.
Swamiji, before we humbly ask you any question, I just want to tell you that the joy that you spread in everybody's life is very precious. Is
Long
very,
lasting.
very precious to us.
It's
Ji,
long lasting.
ji, ji.
Thank you.
Swamiji, is there anything outside our daily life? Is there anything outside this arena of daily life? And I'm combining two thoughts. Actually, three, because they are all entwined. Do you remember your first? I'm asking this with the utmost regard. Do you remember those little steps you took towards the monastery when you were walking towards the monastery and what was going on in your mind?
Mhm.
And Swamiji, is there anything outside our daily life? And what is it to evolve in our daily life? Ji.
What was going on in my mind when I was taking my first steps towards the monastery? I often ask youngsters if they've ever fallen in love with somebody. And when you fall in love with somebody, your reasoning stops and your heart comes into action. The head stops and the heart comes into action. The logic of the head stops and the magic of the heart begins. Head is about logic and heart is about magic. Imagine you have only magic of the heart without the logic of the head. Disaster could be awaiting us. And if you just use the logic of the head without the magic of the heart, there's no fun in life. You need to have a balance of the head and the heart, a balance of logic and magic. Right. So when somebody falls in love and is absolutely obsessed and fascinated with somebody, right? Then you don't use your head often. You follow the magic and the heart a lot of times, which is why I often say love is blind, but marriage happens to be the eye opener. So, so often I see people taking that step in absolute love, right? And then as you start sharing space, you start realizing every other tiny aspects of compatibility, natures, which one doesn't see because the heart is just obsessed and fascinated. My journey towards the monastery was my love affair. And because it was my love affair, I was so absolutely obsessed, fascinated by taking these steps. I remember walking into the courtyard of our ashram, into the courtyard of our monastery. There was not an iota of fear of what was coming ahead. There was not an iota of concern about I've given up my job and my family, what's coming ahead. But isn't that true for somebody in love? When you find the love of your heart and you're kind of now going and being with the love of your heart, you kind of leave everything behind, right? What happens is when after a little while, then reality start dawning on you. You start seeing every nuance of the person who you were in love with. So after a couple of days, in fact, I started realizing that, oh my goodness me, all my life I got the food that my mom cooked for me. Now it's community kitchen food. Things that I didn't like, I had to eat. I never washed my clothes in my life, and now I have to do laundry. I gave up my Hewlett Packard job, and now I was sent on the streets to sell books at the railway station in Mumbai. And guess what? जहाँ सच्चा प्यार होता है वहाँ ये चीजें बहुत छोटी छोटी हो जाती है जब प्यार कम होने लगता है तो ये चीजें बड़ी लगने लगती है जब प्यार बहुत ज्यादा है तो होता है बड़ी बड़ी चीजें भी छोटी लगती है. So I realized even in the first couple of days after taking those first steps into the monastery, what did I come here for? For my love, right? For my love. And if I don't focus on my love, small things will start seem being very big to me. But if I focus on my love for what I'm doing, even the biggest things will start seeming small. It's been 27 years, getting 28 now. My love was blind. Marriage was an eye opener, but still continuing.
So
And in,
define your
sorry,
love.
sorry.
Define your love. What was that love?
What is my love? My
What
love.
was that love?
What was that love? That love was something that for which my heart was beating hard. Right? When you miss a heartbeat, even in human interactions, when you find someone with whom you connect so closely, you skip a heartbeat and you say, "This is it." Right? When I found this path for me, I realized after having spent a few months at HP, I realized that I had two things to do. One was try and make a difference in the lives of people, not machines and systems. And two was my own spiritual calling that I had. So when I found that path, you know how it is, right? It's like when I studied physics, we had a concept called resonance. And in resonance, when two items having the same frequency are with one just next to each other, when you hit this one, the other starts moving as well. It's called resonance. So there's a resonance of the soul as well. When I came to this path and when it's meant to be for me, my heart started resonating. So love for me was that connection, that resonance. But beyond that, love for me was not just a noun, it was a verb. It's action. Love is less of a feeling and more of action. What if somebody says, "I love you, I love you, I love you," but does nothing for the person whom you love? Does it have any meaning? No, it doesn't. So for me, it was more than just a feeling action. So which is why when I came into the ashram, into the monastery, it wasn't just about sitting and doing my japa or my dhyan or my spiritual activity so I feel great. It's action to serve the beloved, to make a difference. Love means service. Right? Love means service. You can have all the feelings and all of that. Love means service. Love means acceptance. Love means respect. In the world today, even between people, when there we talk about love, there's so much about this touchy, feely stuff. But the bottom line is respect. Because the ups and downs of feelings will happen all the time. Today you feel good, tomorrow you may not feel good. Acceptance about that person is so crucial because today you will feel great with that person, tomorrow you may not feel great with that person. Service to each other is so crucial because feelings are very temporary, they come and they go. And so was with my path. I knew there'll be great days, but there'll be bad days too with what I'm doing. One of the days when I'm practicing my meditation, I'm going to feel great, but some other day I won't. So love then meant respect, love then meant acceptance, and love meant service.
Superb. And
It's
how did
funny.
it grow? Did it not grow earlier? Was it a sudden spark? Was it hibernating within you? What happened?
या लोग मुझे कई बार पूछते हैं, सॉरी फॉर द स्लैंग वर्ड्स कमिंग फ्रॉम मुंबई, बट एक्सक्यूज मी फॉर द स्लैंग्स, बट समटाइम पीपल से नौकरी नहीं मिली कि छोकरी नहीं मिली. You know, why did you quit and come here? Was something brewing inside? Was something going on inside? Was there a last straw on the camel's back that made the camel sit down? I feel if there was a trigger point
Ah,
that brought me here, there could be another trigger point that will take me away from here too.
mm,
Triggers are not the best way to make a commitment lifelong. If it's a trigger that makes me make a commitment, there could be another trigger that will also take away that.
that's true.
There has to be a strong foundation, and triggers are add-ons. Triggers are just add-ons. So I definitely remember, having my own spiritual calling. मैं कई बार कहता हूँ लोगों से, I say a lot of times, we shouldn't just find answers to questions. We should also ask questions to answers. There's a lot of answers people are constantly providing us, and we don't question the answers. We're only looking for answers to questions. I was one of those who was also asking questions to the answers that society was giving us. What was the answer to happiness? Have stuff. I was questioning that. What was the answer to peace? Be successful, achieve everything, let your ambition be fulfilled, you'll be peaceful. I was questioning that. So I was questioning the answers, not just looking for answers to questions. And in that spiritual calling, in that quest, in that journey, then there were paths that I was exploring as well. And then there were a few triggers that will always exist for all of us. But those triggers weren't the cause. Those triggers were simply add-ons. Like, for example, my working at HP and then realizing that this is not me. That was an add-on. But the foundation was this calling, this questioning the answers. And I'm appealing to every youngster watching this. Don't just find answers to questions. Please question the answers. Because if you're just looking at answers to questions, you're just accepting the narrative that everybody is giving you. You're not on a journey of your own discovery. When you're discovering on your own path, you need to question the answers. And when you question the answers, you probably have a path-breaking discovery for your own journey. So that's probably what it was.
Yes.
So were you born a bit? Were you born or you made? You made yourself? Were you born inside basically?
Uh, I think it can be a combination of both. We are all a combination of a lot of things that happen to us. One of them is our psychophysical nature, which comes with us. Each one of us are psychophysically so different.
Yes.
So we all are different, and we all come with a certain bent of mind. We all come with a certain thought process as well. And then there is our upbringing, then there is our educational systems, our social circles, our friends, the content we consume through our reading, watching, the people whom we hang out with. All of these things add on, then to kind of build up that journey within you, you know. So I don't think I was just born like that, and I can't say I made myself up like that. It's a combination of multiple things for all of us. We come with something. Imagine you get solid gold. You might get solid gold, but if you don't do anything with that solid gold, that gold is useless. Imagine somebody is given a beautiful voice, doesn't learn singing, doesn't learn music, doesn't do riyaz and practice, it's useless. Imagine somebody is given a huge amount of physical strength, doesn't work out, doesn't do anything with it, no physical strength, doesn't use the brawn, it's useless. So we are all so uniquely gifted, each one of us, with our own abilities, with our own capabilities, with our own natures, with our own callings, and we need to work on it. So we get something which comes with us, and then we need to work on it to build it. So I don't think it can be one or the other. I think it's a combination.
Superb.
Swamiji, you're talking about the self.
Yeah.
You're also talking about loving back. How do you take care of the self within you, which is within you, yourself, the within you, the higher self, to give back all the time the way you're giving back? And a mention about our daily life, the sacredness about our daily life, Swamiji.
Yes. Yes. How do I take care of myself and the sacredness of our daily life, right? You were mentioning about workouts earlier, right? Fitness and workout. मैंने किसी से पूछा, I told one of my friends, तेरा पेट आ गया है बहुत बड़ा, वजन बहुत बढ़ गया है, वजन थोड़ा कम करो. You know what he says to me? He said to me, वजन कम करके क्या करना है? वजन कम करके क्या करना है? आखिर हम सबको एक दिन मरना है. इसीलिए अभी जो भी खाना है खा लो मेरे दोस्त, क्योंकि अगले जन्म में फिर 3 किलो से ही शुरू करना है. You can imagine this guy. I said this guy deserved a whack. Now, I think when we are talking about our self, we are talking about our physical self, we are talking about our mental self, we are talking about our emotional self, we are talking about our intellectual self, we are talking about our ego self, and then we are talking about our spiritual self. And what we need to do is we need to fulfill the needs of each of these. Our physical needs are fulfilled by our food, by our sleep, by our exercise, by our fitness regimen and our routine. That's what takes care of our physical needs. We make sure our diet is good. We ensure that our diet is in place. We ensure that our rest is in place. We ensure that our exercise is in place. If these three are there are good chances that we'll be physically fit.
Yeah.
When we're looking at mental fitness, how is mental fitness any different from physical fitness? We need to make sure that the diet is good, which is what all the content we read, we consume, everything that's going in is ahar. और हमें आहार पे बहुत ध्यान देना चाहिए जो भीतर जा रहा है. जो पढ़ते हैं, जो देखते हैं, we watch so much dark content sometimes and our mind gets polluted. It's so important to be conscientious of the content that we consume because that's the diet for our mind. We need to rest our minds like we rest our bodies. Every day, 6 to 7 hours, we lay down our bodies. Do we lay our minds down? You can imagine how fatigued, how exhausted we feel because there's just no rest to the mind. It's a 24/7 machine. Today, our education and our society has taught us how to get physical rest. What about mental rest? You know, sleep is a big topic for discussion in the world today. A huge number of people suffer from sleep disorders. They're not rested. So there's medicines, there's exercises, there's music, there is sleep stories, there is apps. What about rest for the mind? हमारे मन को भी रेस्ट देना बहुत जरूरी है. You know what? This phone is about 200, 250 grams, right? But if I hold this phone for the rest of the conversation, my wrist is going to feel a little burdened. If I hold it for the rest of the evening, my wrist will start hurting. If I hold it for the week without pulling it down, it's going to get paralyzed, numbed, my wrist. This is exactly what we are doing with our minds, constantly carrying something inside. It's not the weight of what we carry, it's for how long we are carrying non-stop, 24/7. And if I want my wrist to be rested, I'm going to have to pull this off and keep it aside so my wrist feels better. And if I want this to be rested, I'm going to have to pull it out, if not forever, because the things that will come back to us, but every now and then. So that mental rest comes from journaling, where we pull everything out, we express ourselves. It's like taking this phone out, and it's like taking what's the toxicity in my mind out of paper. It comes by confiding in someone the feelings of our heart. That gives us mental rest. And then, of course, there is exercise for the mind as well. We need to exercise our mind, which is why actually it comes to more of the intellectual side of us, which is why we read, we think, we process. That's our intellectual need, right? We need to fulfill our physical needs, we need to fulfill our mental needs, we need to fulfill our intellectual needs, our intellectual self, which is where reasoning, logic, thoughts, questioning, discovery, all of these are the needs of the intellect. How many of us have felt when we something amazing comes to us, man, I'm feeling so good today. I read this, I'm feeling so nice, I heard this. Because it titillates our intellect. Then there is an emotional need. And that emotional need is feeling appreciated, feeling valued, feeling respected, feeling accepted, feeling loved. It's our emotional need. My emotional self, that need needs to be addressed as well. Then there's the need of the ego. And the need of the ego is achievement. That's why people have what is called as a midlife crisis. They come to a certain stage where they feel they haven't accomplished much. They start losing their identity because they don't know what they're doing in their lives. It's a need and it needs to be addressed. We need to do what we are meant to do so we feel that I've achieved something in my life. It could even mean contributing something. And then there is the need of our spiritual self. And that need of the spiritual self is addressed by giving it a food for our souls, which is not physical, not mental, not emotional, not intellectual. It is spiritual. Spiritual. That's precisely why we have spiritual practices, chanting, japa, dhyan, meditation, yoga, connection. All of these practices are making us connect with our own self and then help us connect our own self with the divine self. That connection addresses the needs of ourselves. And I must tell you one thing, if there's any of these needs are not addressed, life isn't out of balance. That's where disturbance comes from. We are
Right.
irritable, we're frustrated, we have negativity, we feel toxicity because we are not addressing one. Imagine your mind is happy but body is sick.
Yeah.
You're still frustrated. Imagine being in fit body but being depressed. You're still going to be frustrated. Imagine you're not depressed, your body is fit, but there's nobody who loves you, nobody who respects you, your emotional needs are not fulfilled. You'll feel out of place. So, in my personal life, my daily routine and what I do on a daily basis, I address all of my needs.
Wow.
My physical need is addressed. I'm up early in the morning. Right. The first thing I do is I address the needs of my heart, my emotional self, which is I practice a deep sense of gratitude. I remember people, I remember my gurus, I remember my friend, I remember my family. In that connection with people, my emotional needs are fulfilled. And those happen through the day as well when I interact with my friends. The second thing I do in the morning is I address the needs of my spiritual self. I practice an hour and a half of my japa, my meditation, my puja, and other things which address the need of my very core. The third thing I do is I address the needs of my intellect. Every morning I listen to my fellow monks who give talks on various scriptures, and that titillates my thinking process. I read, I hear. The fourth thing I do on a daily basis, I also address the needs of my body. I work out. A trainer comes to have me do exercise 45 minutes a day, 6 days a week. The fifth thing I do is my ego, I don't do anything separately, but I know that's a need too. So, what I do in the introduction that you gave, I keep doing my work, and whatever by God's grace comes addresses the need of the ego that I'm doing something, I'm trying to make a difference. And then the spiritual self, of course, is taken care of as well. So, I think our daily routine must revolve around addressing our needs. At the same time, we should also be aware there'll be days when one or the other will take a back seat because something else becomes a priority. When I'm ill, everything else goes to the back seat, and just coming back to good health becomes the priority.
Mm.
So, balance is a very dynamic process. We're not going to have a 100% balanced life every day, but we should
Mm.
make an attempt to address this.
Superb.
Thank you.
Saina, may I ask or you will ask?
Please, आप पूछिए. We wanted to show Swami Ji's. आप पूछिए, then we'll take it forward
You
from
want to show Swamiji's what? Heart space? You want to show
there.
his heart space? Go
Swami
ahead.
Ji, Swami Ji spoke about his core. Swami Ji, your core is your heart, and who resides in your heart. And we want to show you that. Who
Oh,
resides in your heart.
please. I'm looking forward to seeing who resides in my
Yeah.
but I'm
Now,
trying to see who got it.
now you see your heart, and we have a common heart on that.
Oh, wow.
We have a common.
Swamiji,
You got it. You
We
got
got
it.
it right.
Jai Harima. Jai Harima.
He is our guru too. He is very kind, very affectionate to us. In fact, we did a Baatcheet with him.
Oh
We did
wow.
the, and he was in Washington at that time, all the way, and he
Nice.
immediately said yes.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
And I was visiting his eco village where you also went. He has
Right.
named one of his calf in the name of Saina.
Oh, amazing. When I go next time, I'm going to see that calf in particular with special attention.
Would be a cow by now.
Yeah, I'm sure. How long back was this?
A few years ago, it would be a
Maybe
Two,
cow by now. Just
three,
few years.
almost 3 years ago.
almost
Almost
Yeah,
3 years.
just
must
3
be a
years ago.
calf.
He was
Yes.
very kind. He showed me around the entire eco village. What a fantastic! By the way, you spoke at the eco conference, right? You spoke at the eco conference
At Govardhan
and
Eco Village?
the eco village. You went to the
No, I couldn't make it at there.
climate change conference.
Yeah, I couldn't come that time. I couldn't go.
No,
Climate change.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And I want to ask you, who gave you your name? Gaur Gopal Das. Who gave you this name?
Oh, my name was given by my Guru Radhanath Swami.
Oh, he did. Oh, wow.
That wasn't
Wow.
my name. My legal name was something else, but that was a name given by my Guru Radhanath Swami when he gave me spiritual initiation. And I must
Wow.
tell you something that, when you leave home
Hmm.
and come to a monastery or an ashram,
Yes.
ashram life is not all that an easy life. Like I said, you have the rigors of ashram life where now it's more easier because things are settled for us. But when I came to the ashram, there were not many facilities, things were hard. And more than all of that, when you come to an ashram, what you're leaving behind is a loving family with very meaningful, deep bondings and relationships.
Yes.
And ashram में माँ नहीं होती, है ना? Many times they sing that song. It says, "No, मैं कभी बतलाता नहीं, पर अंधेरे से डरता हूँ मैं माँ, मैं कभी दिखलाता नहीं, तेरी परवाह करता हूँ मैं माँ, तुझे सब है पता है ना माँ, तुझे सब है पता मेरी माँ." So one of the biggest factor that lacks is ma. And I must tell you, mother's love, the affection of a mother is healing. It is therapeutic. There is no comfortable pillow in the world than the lap of a mother. There is no towel or a nice, a Turkish napkin or a handkerchief that can wipe your tears than the pallu of your mother. There's none of those things. Nothing in the world can replace the affection, the love, the unconditional connection that a mother feels for the child. And that's the one thing that lacks when you come to an ashram. The therapy that can deal with all what you might be going through is lacking. When you're ill, she's not there by your side. When you're going through anything, she's not there by your side. Fathers too, but in particular, we all know mom, and you turn it around, it becomes wow. Right? Just turn the word mom around, it's just wow. Right? When I came to the ashram, however, I found the love of a mother in Radhanath Swami.
Ah,
Radhanath Swami is such an incredibly spiritually exalted soul, very highly elevated spiritually, very learned in the scriptures and the ancient wisdom, is a big leader in the society, in the spiritual society ISKCON that I come from. And what I found in him was a person who has a heart that genuinely cares.
that's true.
Somebody said very beautifully, you know, I don't care how much you know. I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. When I came to the ashram, I found in Radhanath Swami not just my guru, not just my teacher, spiritual teacher, not just someone who was an exalted spiritual personality. I found in him a person who had a well wishing heart that truly cared and loved. And which is why 27, 28 years have passed by, and touch wood, hopefully it remains the same forever. And the thought never crossed my mind that I need to go back. Not once. Not once this thought ever crossed my mind. And then he built a community in our ashram, around our ashram, and he taught us the value of friendships in the ashram.
Right.
Where we found camaraderie, we found meaningful connections, we found a culture of sharing and caring.
Mm.
And when you have sharing and caring, is when you become very daring. See, only when you have the foundation of sharing and caring
You
is when you
become
can
there.
show that daring side of yours that I can do this.
That's
But if
true.
that sharing and caring, that support system is not there, oh gosh, isn't that very popular song there? जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए, तुम देना साथ मेरा, मैं हूँ हम नवाज. That support system is what, beyond all spiritual stuff and everything that I learned, I think that's what defines Radhanath Swami the most.
We are all very blessed we have him around. And his book, The Journey Within, his book, The Journey
Yes,
Within. My
yes,
God, it's an amazing look how he was all along protected to return to India. He was
yes,
all along protected by divine grace. When you
absolutely,
read his book, one miracle after the other, you start believing that there is divinity which is protecting you if you need to be protected.
absolutely.
The journey within.
Yes,
Swamiji, Swamiji, just sharing something very personal with you because this thought is very close to my heart and I see it every day. God's love doesn't abandon anybody. The divine love does not abandon anybody.
absolutely.
When I go visit the prison and I see the prisoners inside, they've not been abandoned. God's love is enveloping them also. And I think Lord Krishna's love is enveloping all of you once you step in. It's such a treasure, the divine love. It nourishes you each moment.
Yes.
और जिसका कोई नहीं होता उसका वो डिवाइन लव होता है स्वामी जी. It
Ji.
nourishes you and nurtures you each moment. Ji, stemming from that, Swamiji, how do you develop spiritual stamina? How do you
Hmm.
develop? You've spoken about it, but how do you develop spiritual stamina to keep responding to life
Hmm.
from a state of calmness and wisdom and not just emotion? Ji.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you, Ji. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Uh, Firstly, indeed, that divine love is just amazing and incredible. It just envelops all of us. मैं कई बार कहता हूँ कि मैं रोज गलती करता हूँ, मैं रोज गलती करता हूँ, वो रोज बख्श देता है. मैं रोज गलती करता हूँ, वो रोज बख्श देता है. मैं आदत से मजबूर हूँ, लेकिन वो रहमत से मशहूर है.
Wow. Wow.
You know, and therefore, one of the most amazing aspects of divine love is to be able to forgive and let go.
Oh.
And we make so many blunders and so many mistakes and so many erroneous decisions. We get distracted. We go off the track. And divine love is something that is accepting of us despite all of. And even in our personal relationships, when we actually love somebody, then that is when we say, okay, despite whatever must have happened, whatever the person may have done, we are willing to accept, we are willing to forgive and move on. Right? And sometimes forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean continuing a relationship. Sometimes forgiveness also means moving on. And the reason being, sometimes a relationship is toxic. When the relationship is toxic for whatever reasons, we need to move on. We need to kind of make sure that none of us get affected by that toxic relationship. But we also learn to let go. We also learn to let go, because that toxicity can kill us. That toxicity can ruin our mental health and our
True,
peace. So
true.
learning from divine love कि मैं रोज गलती करता हूँ, वो रोज बख्श देता है, मैं आदत से मजबूर हूँ, वो रहमत से मशहूर है। अरे वो रहमत करता है तो हम भी थोड़ी लोगों में रहमत दिखाए, भले उनके साथ रहे या नहीं रहे, वो जो भी निर्णय हो, लेकिन हम भी थोड़ी रहमत दिखाए और लेट गो करना सीखे। Right? Now coming to the point of spiritual stamina, how do we actually build that spiritual stamina and come from the space of calm and wisdom in facing life's challenges? You know, sometimes I ask people how many of them problems in life, and they raise their hands. Who doesn't have problems in life, right? है ना? लोग ना मौत को यूं ही बदनाम करते हैं जी। लोग मौत को यूं ही बदनाम करते हैं, वरना तकलीफ वैसे जिंदगी से है। मौत से किसको तकलीफ है? वो तो एक बार में खत्म हो जाती है, जिंदगी तो रोज जीनी पड़ती है। So every single day there are challenges, there are difficulties, and I tell them, people come to me and say, Swamiji, you have solutions to problems? I said, yeah, all problems. Every problem I have a solution. Just pick up your smartphones, go to your wallpaper settings, and change your home screen and your lock screen wallpaper, both, to the picture of your spouse if you're married, or a boyfriend or girlfriend if you're in a relationship. And then whenever you have a serious difficulty and trouble, look at that picture, the wallpaper, and say, if I can handle this, I can handle any damn thing in my life. Sorry about that, just to make the conversation a bit lighter.
I, I
it's
see that
getting
happening.
it's getting quite intense and deep, so making it a little lighter. We are all going to have our fair share of problems, challenges, difficulties, troubles. जिंदगी है तो तकलीफ तो होनी ही है।
So why are we born?
या मैं
Why are
पहले
we born?
एक जवाब दे दूं, इनकी स्पिरिचुअल स्टेमिना का कुछ जवाब पूछा था इन्होंने।
मैंने सोचा पूरा हो गया।
ना ना नहीं, अभी तो बस ये बोल रहा हूँ कि तकलीफें तो है ही, तो इसको
अच्छा,
स्पिरिचुअल
तो
स्टेमिना कैसा आए जिससे हम इसका मुकाबला कर पाए,
हाँ बताओ,
है ना?
बताओ
How does
प्लीज।
one function from the space of calm and wisdom in
राइट।
a way that we can face life's challenges in a way that they don't kind of get onto our nerves? कैसे वो स्टेमिना बढ़ाया जाए? जब कोई भागना शुरू करता है, क्या वो 20 किलोमीटर भाग पाता है? नहीं। He or she starts running a little bit, and when they start running every single day, slowly they build the strength to run a marathon. When somebody is running a marathon, they have to start practicing way ahead of time, because they have to build the strength to run that long distance. Right? If one goes to a gym and does weight training, can they do weight training, go to the gym and start lifting 50 kg dumbbells on day one? No, they can't. They're going to have to start with tiny little dumbbells, 2 kilos, 3 kilos, 4 kilos, and then slowly build their strength to lift bigger weights. If you do yoga and you're trying to build flexibility, are you going to be able to do all these complicated asanas where your hands and legs are all twisted around each other? In the beginning, no. We start with the little movements where it might just reach a little bit and then slowly start building flexibility. Our stamina, our strength, our flexibility can only be built when we use it. Only when we begin to use something can we build it. The problem is we don't even use it. Right? If I don't use my strength to lift weights, I will never be able to lift a weight. If I don't use my stamina to start running, I will never be able to run a marathon. If I don't start just flexing my arm or my hands or my legs a little bit, I will never gain that flexibility. If I don't start using the potential that my soul has been gifted with, I am extremely strong. My problems may be strong, but I am strong as well. I have been given with the innate ability, the potential, the capacity to fight every challenge. There is no challenge in the world that I cannot fight. But because I don't use it, I start using getting distracted by watching, browsing some reels. I think this will give me some peace. I start watching a movie, or I start getting into some kind of addictions. I start doing all kinds of stuff to deal with my issues, except for using my innate potential. I start doing everything else to deal with my issues.
Innate potential such as,
Our innate potential is the inner strength that my soul has,
such as,
such as the ability to face whatever comes to me.
so it's
But,
resilience. Is it
sorry,
resilience? Is it resilience?
it is resilience. It is resilience, right? But because I don't use it, it's just not going to be there. I feel that I don't have it. I feel overwhelmed. I feel completely taken aback. I feel depressed. I feel lost. So, how do I build my spiritual stamina? By starting to use it even a little bit. Every growth happens in micro steps. Right? If I find I don't have to start facing big challenges using my spiritual strength, let me start facing my little things first. It's like lifting the 2 kilos dumbbell. I don't have to control my anger when there's a huge fight. I can just control my anger when I'm stuck in traffic, and rather than cribbing and complaining, just find my peace. If I can do it there, it'll slowly start building up into even into the huge fights that I have. And therefore, if I don't use my start using my stamina, how am I going to build my spiritual stamina? So let's begin small. And when we begin small, one of the things that I want to really say here is this. There was a little boy, and his father was asking him, Beta, what's nine multiplied by 8? The boy said to the father, 152. The boy gave him a chocolate. And the father gave him a chocolate. So the man's wife said, What are you doing? You said 9 multiplied by 8. He's saying 152. You're giving him a chocolate. Do you know what is 9 multiplied by 8?
Mm,
The man said, Obviously 72. You know the right answer. He's saying 152 and you're giving him a chocolate. Why?
mm, mm.
The father said, Yesterday he was saying 172. From 172, he's come to 152, which is a progress of 20 digits towards the right answer. Now, what
Mm.
we do is we keep punishing ourselves for not achieving what we are meant to, but we don't pat our backs and reward ourselves for the tiny improvements that we make. And
Correct,
we live
correct.
in guilt. We live in guilt.
Wonderful.
मेरे से नहीं हो रहा है. I couldn't do this. I'm not able to achieve this. Oh, yesterday you were worst. Today, even if I'm a little better than what I was yesterday, I should build up my confidence, reward myself for it to take the next big step towards improvement. So, our spiritual stamina is built by using it. Our spiritual stamina is built by not wallowing in guilt. Our spiritual stamina is built by patting ourselves and rewarding ourselves for those small achievements. Our spiritual stamina is also built by keeping the company of those who are spiritually strong, because their strength rubs on us as well and gives us the strength to fight.
Have you got the answer, Saina?
Gee, all blessed, Swamiji.
Thank you.
Swamiji,
So
you've spoken about a
you
little boy. You've spoken
you need
about
to,
a little.
Saina,
Ji.
Saina, you need to pat yourself for the kind of devotion you have for a cause. Do you do that?
Swamiji, all that you see here is all Madhari's kripas. So my greatest reality is
Carry on.
that I do
Yeah.
interfere.
See, that was a very personal question, Swamiji, she asked. So I wanted to know if she's got the answer.
Swamiji, thinking, when you spoke about a little boy, my mind went to a very important, a very real reality of life. Those of us who will get to see old age, how do we start living a life which our old age will thank us for?
One moment. Sorry, just give me a second. Yeah.
Ji.
Yeah. Sorry. Uh, yeah, I didn't get the question. I'm sorry.
Swamiji, those you spoke about the little boy. again, my mind ran in a different direction.
Right.
Those of us who will get to see old age with Mastercard, those of us who will get to see, will be elders. How do we live a life? And it's a reality for most of us. How do we start living a life where we thank our own self in the old age for living that life? Our old age, during those years, we thank ourselves.
Mm.
You spoke
Yeah.
about pat on the back, then good you led this life. And not
Yes.
that life full of regrets.
Yes.
Failures, learnings, regrets, all a part of life. We pick ourselves, we learn, but thank
Yes.
ourselves for living a life, which our old age can thank ourselves. We can thank ourselves.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Uh, there was a construction company, and one of the men in the construction company, he wanted to retire out, go for voluntary retirement. So he came to the boss and he said, I really want to kind of take it easy now. I'm kind of getting 60-ish. So I want to kind of really relax, take it easy. So the man said, okay, fine, perfectly fine. The boss said, but my humble request, I just want you to make this one last house, right? And make it really beautiful, the interiors and all that. Just one last house. So the man said, fine, if that's your request, I'll do it. And then after that, please, allow me to take it easy and allow me to leave. The man said, fine. The boss said, fine, no problem. Now, this guy thought, this is my last house I'm making. His heart wasn't into it. He used sloppy materials, used sloppy workmanship, used sloppy interiors, and made kind of a messy, kind of a chalta hai kind of house. And once it was all done, he locked it up and went to the boss and gave the key, handed over the key to the boss. And the boss handed the key back, saying, this is my gift to you for all the years of work that you put into our company.
Ah,
And the man thought, if only I knew that this house was meant for me, how would I have used all the best materials, the best interiors, because that's the house that I am meant to live in. Right? Our future is the house that we are all meant to live in. And that future that we are meant to live in is going to be based on all the present choices that we make, the kind of materials, the kind of workmanship that we put into our life right now is what will ensure a beautiful future when we grow older in age. And that's the only way we'll be able to thank ourselves कि thank God तभी compromise नहीं किया, thank God तभी सही चीज किया, thank God तभी किसी से unnecessarily पंगा नहीं लिया, thank God तभी let go कर दिया. What are the ways to prepare for our old age and our time when we kind of grow older? Number one, to learn to practice detachment. There are years of our life where we are in control, but we are not in control all our lives. We have to learn to let go before we are told to let go. The worst thing is to be told that, sorry, we don't need you any longer. Right? Each one of us in our own ways become irrelevant at some point in time. Why? Because time changes very fast, very rapidly. Our body grows, but our mind, our intellect cannot keep up with the changing times that are going on all around us. And at times we just become irrelevant. Before somebody tells us you are irrelevant, to accept this reality that I'm irrelevant and take a step back is called detachment. कोई बोलने से अच्छा कि आप छोड़ के जाओ, मैं खुद छोड़ दूं. It's so beautiful because then, with great honesty and genuineness and authenticity, I know तब मैंने ये सब कर लिया अब ढूंढना है क्या कर सकते हैं वही चीज जिंदगी भर नहीं चलती रहेगी with family. I see so many married couples, parents, they've had their share of their children. Now it's their time to have a family. But that micro control in the lives of children ruins it. You have to take a step back. Peace, acceptance, authenticity, coming to terms with reality. You know what? When we decide to take a step back, is when people come and say, we want you to share your wisdom with us. When we decide to remain there, attached, irrelevant, people are only thinking, ye kab jayega, you know? And therefore, one thing that we need to start practicing when we are younger, इस छोटी छोटी चीजों को छोड़ना सीखना चाहिए, क्योंकि जब उम्र होगी तो बड़ी बड़ी चीजें छोड़नी पड़ती है, you know. And therefore, let's put in the best materials, let's put in the best workmanship, so in the future we have a house that's extremely beautiful that we are living in, and we pat our back saying, जिंदगी जीना सीखा मैंने, ऐसे जीवन भी है जो जिए ही नहीं, जिनको जीने से पहले ही मौत आ गई, फूल ऐसे भी है जो खिले ही नहीं, जिनको खिलने से पहले फिजा खा गई। सारी चीजों में भागते भागते ना, ये नहीं भूलना चाहिए कि जिंदगी जीने के लिए दी गई है, पाने के लिए नहीं। पाना जीवन का एक अहम हिस्सा है, लेकिन जीना जीवन का मकसद है। पाना जीवन का मकसद नहीं है, पाना जीवन का हिस्सा है, जीना जीवन का मकसद है। और कई बार ना, पाने में हम जीना भूल जाते हैं, और तब फिर आगे जाके पैठ नहीं कर पाएंगे, क्योंकि पता लगेगा कि अरे, यहाँ आते आते जीना तो भूल ही गए। हम उन्हें कामयाबी में सुकून नजर आया, उन्हें कामयाबी में सुकून नजर आया, तो वो दौड़ते गए। हमें सुकून में कामयाबी नजर आई, तो हम बैठ गए। उन्हें कामयाबी में सुकून नजर आया, तो वो दौड़ते गए। हमें सुकून में कामयाबी नजर आई, तो हम बैठ गए। उन चीजों के पीछे दौड़ते दौड़ते ही तो क्या कर रहा है बशर, इतना तो जीना भी नहीं जितना तो मर रहा है बशर। You know, in running after that, we lose our peace. Sometimes in running after पाने के लिए जीना भूल जाते हैं, और कई बार जीने के लिए पाना भूल जाते हैं। देखिए, दोनों बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। केवल जीना सीखेगा और पाइएगा नहीं, तो then I said our needs of our ego are not met with. We need to balance both. So when we come to that old age, that elderly age, से पाया भी है और जिया भी है। That life is a beautiful house that we build with the materials that the boss gave the boss gave all of us. That boss up there gave all of these materials to us, which is why I say, when you are beautiful, it's God's gift to you. But when you live your life beautiful, it's your gift to God. And that's why we live our life beautifully, so we can pat ourselves, but thank Him for giving all the materials so we can build a house in which we can live
Give everybody a new year message and a blessing. Give a new year. I think you said it all. Actually, that is a new year message to live your life ahead. But let's have the finale for you, a new year message
beautifully. I
for
think
all.
one of the most important aspect of a new year is that we every day is a new year. Every day is a new opportunity. You know, sometimes I say last night was the last night for a couple of people. They didn't get up this morning. हर सवेरे 1 जनवरी है. 1st of January 2024 is not the new year. Every morning when I wake up is a new year for me to live now. A new day, a fresh beginning. And guess what? Whatever may have happened in the past, whatever mistakes, whatever blunders, whatever goof ups, whatever glitches, whatever challenges, we all have the ability, the potential, the opportunity to start fresh. पूरा दिन खाली है, नया बनाने के लिए हमको दिया गया है। इसलिए जिंदगी की हर सुबह कुछ शर्तें लेकर आती है और जिंदगी की हर शाम कुछ तजुर्बा देके जाती है। तो कल जो तजुर्बा मिला है उससे अगला दिन अच्छा शुरू करते हैं। 2023 में जो भी तजुर्बा मिला है, 2024 में उस तजुर्बे के साथ अच्छी शुरुआत करते हैं। 2023 की कई अच्छी चीजें होंगी, मेमोरीज होंगी, उसको अपना खजाना बनाकर 2024 में ले चलते हैं। 2023 की कई गलतियां रही होंगी, उन गलतियों को सुधार कर 2024 में प्रवेश करते हैं। 2023 की कई रिग्रेट्स रही होंगी, उन रिग्रेट्स पर काम करके उसको छोड़कर उन चीजों को पूरा करने की कोशिश करती है। 2023 में कुछ गिल्ट्स रही होंगी, उस गिल्ट से निकलने की कोशिश करते हैं। तब बनेगा नया साल सुंदर और उज्जवल।
We all thank Maharaj Radhanath Swamiji for giving us such a wonderful student. Such a wonderful student. You're a diamond in this country. People
No,
love you. People
you're
love
also
you, adore you.
very grateful for all your love, your kindness, your kind words, and this beautiful opportunity to do this Baatcheet with both of you.
Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Thank you
Hope
Swamiji,
to
very
see you and hear you in Delhi one day,
much. Yeah, sure, sure. Looking
directly
forward.
in person.
Swamiji, lots and lots of gratitude and pranam to you,
Thank you so much.
and a little reassurance that we'll never be irrelevant for the divine.
Yes, never. Indeed.
That's the purest love. We'll never be irrelevant for the divine, and we'll always get the divine love. We need to focus on our bond with the divine.
Absolutely.
Swamiji, before this program, I did a very naughty thing. We'd never done
Uh-huh.
before for the Baatcheet. I
Uh-huh.
asked my friends and followers on the WhatsApp, saying, "You are coming on the line. Can you please send me the questions you want me to ask on your behalf?"
Okay.
Swamiji, you literally addressed most of the questions on your own.
Thank you so much. Very grateful. My
So
pleasure
grateful
and
to
my
you.
honor. And I'm so happy to be with both of you and everybody who's watching as well.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Pranam,
Happy New
pranam.
Year to you.
Pranam
Jai
ji and wish all of you a happy new year.
Wish you
Happy
a
New Year.
happy new year, blessed happy new year. Hare Krishna. Jai
Hare
Dhari.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Pranam.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Pranam. Jai Dhari Maps.